You can hear the sound of technical crews moving equipment, lashing ropes, securing high wires, cages, and safety nets. In the distance, the sound of crowds milling about in anticipation, picking up those final snacks and treats before it's time they take only the edges of their seats. As the hum of the lights harmonizes with the hum in your mind of the musical theme for your death-defying routine, you apply the look. A look of a character that mocks every risk of your routine because you know those risks don't apply to you. You've practiced 1,000,000 times. You've landed it 1,000,000 times more. So you put on your skin-tight red suit with a dramatically large, stylized collar. You apply a pale white makeup that can only remind onlookers of a corpse. You transform yourself into what you know you will never be. You become Deadman. The bells ring, the announcers begin, the crowd swells and you feel it. The anticipation that drives you, the force that lifts you higher in your routine, the amazement that pushes you farther than a human should go, an energy that pulls you in. It's time. Step into the lights. Your audience awaits. It's showtime. Well, there may not be much question about the origin story of perhaps the most famous circus performer turned hero. Dick Grayson, the only surviving member of the ill-fated Flying Grayson aerial acrobatic family, easily raises the question, was he perhaps destined to become a hero? But what about the question of if a flying acrobat with a heroic destiny was not a survivor? A question perhaps never asked until right now, but answered a long time ago by the creative minds of Arnold Drake and Carmine Infantino, in 1967 to be exact, and with circus trapeze artist Boston Brand. Packing an alliterative moniker that's on brand with some of the greatest heroes out there, but no longer walking in the same physical plane as most of the greatest heroes out there, Boston Brand was a ghost. Boston Brand lived up to his circus performance character. Boston Brand was a dead man. Fatefully attacked during one of his electrifying performances by a man only called the Hook, Boston Brand was a victim of severely bad form, Peter, finding himself no longer a member of the realm of the living. But these are comic books. With great tragedy comes great powers to return as a ghost and find one's killer and exact revenge. Sort of like the Crow if Boston was Eric and the Trapeze was Shelley. Instead, Boston was now Deadman, a literal ghost to match his circus persona. Brand, or Deadman, is often depicted in a form-fitting red bodysuit with an exaggerated collar and pale, ghostly flesh. Deadman was now literally a ghost, and with that had ghost-like abilities. He could pass through objects, float or fly, even possess bodies of the living for periods of time. Existing in the spectral plane gives Brand a slight advantage, as most cannot see or hear him when he is in his ghost form. However, magic and spells can easily combat him, as he has no natural method of defending against them. Though he can often be considered a slightly obscure character, Boston Brand, or Deadman, has had many adventures, even as far as battling Black Lanterns or wielding a White Lantern ring at times. So it's safe to say that he can occasionally play some very important roles, including a role in haunting collections and display shelves everywhere now, thanks to the recent partnership between Target and McFarlane Toys. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collects, and in this episode we are taking a closer look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Target exclusive gold label, Deadman. Hey everyone, welcome back. Here he is, Deadman himself. So very cool, very excited to have this one. It's been a little difficult to get a hold of, right? Like gold label, Target, kind of the typical thing. Can be a little bit complicated, but it's supposed to launch officially, I think, Friday, so hopefully it becomes a little bit easier for people to get a hold of. Again, as always, if you need help, please let us know, and we will try and help track one down for you as best we can. But here he is, and looking on the back, look at that cool artwork, right? And those chains right there, and just, man, what a... They really nailed it. When looking at this and you look at the figure, they do such a fantastic job of duplicating that, which we'll look at it here in a minute. Typical McFarlane business going on over here. Gotta love the extra labels that we get when we order things, right? And then over here, the Deadman DC Rebirth version. And then up here on the top, yes, Target, you never fail to fail. Thank you for the label. Let's see if this one peels off without a lot of issue. This is what people come for, watching labels get peeled. Okay, I do appreciate that it does have that release, but come on, there's no reason to do that. Anyway, one day somebody's thing's going to get damaged, and they're going to be disappointed by that, and there's just no reason for all the people that in the higher ups of Target that are currently watching this, you know, because of course this is what they're doing. Okay, but there we go. Let's get old Deadman out of here. Look at this. Pull. I'm gonna destroy this package just trying to get it open. Okay, there we go. And let's pull the old tray out. We got an empty box, so we will put that to the side as usual. We'll take this tray, plastic tray that is... Oh my gosh. So they've taken it to a new level. Not only do we have the elasticy thingies, but we've got the elasticy thingies holding the paper tray to the plastic tray. So one thing that I'll say that I it's another extra nuisance, but I'll say that I appreciate it because it makes theft maybe a little bit more complicated, hopefully. It doesn't make it more complicated to not hit the camera, though. So there we go. All right, so there's that typical background that we've got, and there's old Deadman himself, that same artwork from the back. There's our stand. Moving that to the side, and let's start pulling out our accessories. So all the accessory items that come with old Deadman here are, yes, they are attached by those good old things. So let's just go ahead and cut. See there, I was getting a little excited before with, I think maybe it was Shazam or somebody did not have, I think, any of these, and I was like, hey, maybe they're moving away from it, you know, using all these little bands. But nope, sure enough, I have been proven wrong because this one is just lousy with bands. You know what, maybe it was a thing, like these little smoke feature pieces are just generally loose and they didn't want them flying all over the place, so just pull them out. These smoke pieces just fell out. So there we go, empty plastic tray. And let's take a look at these smoke pieces. So 3 different ones that came with it, and you can kind of tell from the pictures, right, the listings. So there's this first one, super cool. I'm just going to jump right into this one because this is neat. I couldn't really tell this part from the picture, but look at that. Oh, that's so neat. Right, so it's got this plastic that they show it on his back, right, and this piece coming up over it, and I'm like, that just looks weird. But it's him. It's like a ghost spectral version of him just kind of erupting out, because you can see the collar, you can see the face. It's like almost like a skull-like face. How cool is that? And I love the way that they did this material, right? So maybe in the camera it kind of looks like they made it out of hot glue, but it's not, right? It's not. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little bit of something in there that's kind of giving it a little bit of a visual texture or a shine. It's almost like there's some flakes of metal or something in there. Can you see that? There's a little bit of a reflection right there on that one. So that is super neat. Nice extra little bit of detail. And so far, I'm going to say, like, there's some showing up in the head there. You can see it just kind of mixing there. It might just be white paint, but some of it looks kind of reflective. But it adds that little extra texture. It adds that little bit of detail. It's a fairly soft plastic, but this part is pretty tough. I think it's just soft because of the longer, thinner pieces sticking out of it. But I do appreciate the detail that they did on that. And it's starting to add up as far as the complexity of getting a hold of this figure. Makes it worth it. But then here we've got 2 other pieces, right, of just smoke effects. These you can also see in the listing on Target. These are a little bit softer, also because they're thin, but they're that same material. And they even have, looks like some of that stuff maybe in there. If it is, there's tiny little bits. It's kind of tough to see. I think I might be telling myself that it's there, but sometimes it looks like it. Anyway, so there we go. Those are the accessories that came with a Deadman, or, Dead Daredevil, Dead DC Daredevil, with serious, amazing fashion choices. Okay, look at this guy. All right, so let's get a nice close-up look at the face. Let's get the old focus working with us. Look at the sculpting on this thing. Oh my goodness. Like the pictures online do not do this justice. The camera barely is doing it justice. Just in person, the texture of it, the way that it's painted, this is masterfully done. I mean, just look at the face. Look at that head. Could not look more like a dead man, if you will, but also like a comic book version, right? I just love the wrinkle of the skin, almost like a light decomposition, but not fully, not enough to be like creepy zombie-like. just that. And then the whited out eyes helps. And then of course I love the underneath it where it just gives it that sunken dead look that we get. I mean, it's just so well done. And then the highlights with like the bluish purple in there to really kind of sell that whole look of cold blue and dead. One thing I will say is they spent a lot of time drawing out the highlights of the sculpting on the head, but none of that purple is here in the other portion of the body that's showing, right? So there's a little missed opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and say right there. The head got a lot of attention, but the rest did not, right? As you can see, everything that it attaches to did not. Okay, but the neck is attached to the torso, as you can see, with this piece that's recessed in there. The head, side to side, yeah, not bad. Even with this massive collar, right? Plenty of room. Look at that. I'm actually impressed by that. Up, not the best, right? Because we've got a massive collar that would get in the way. And I say would because it's not, as you can see. It's just the limitations of the joint of the head and all that. But it does look up a little bit, right? So it does have the ability to do it. Down is a whole lot better, which is really cool. I mean, that's like I'm judging you right now, flight stance. We'll call it accidental cool pose. That's what we're going to call it. Hashtag. Okay, so there we go. And then I think with the collar, we might, unfortunately, with a dead man, we could do the exorcist rotation, but I'm thinking paint rub is going to be a thing. It would do it, but it would take a lot of force. So not recommended for those of you out there who probably never do that. I can see that this neck or collar piece is a separate piece. It's recessed in there. And with that being said, you can kind of see the separation in it. And, you know, what else are they going to really be able to do? There's a few ways they could have handled this, especially when dealing with this large plastic collar. And in the camera, you can notice it a little bit more than you can in person. You have to really just be looking at it with a judgmental eye. Otherwise, I mean, it's just a beautiful figure. It's very simple, but very well done. We've got good butterfly joints right here in the shoulders to help with some flexibility. Great rotation. Bicep, triceps, that good old design I usually like to see, and I say it is fully because it has that full rotation capability. Double elbow. Still got the visible pins, but, you know, like I said, not really a noted venture by McFarlane Toys to remove those or get rid of them. So there we go. Pretty good flexibility, even with that musculature that's in there. We got the typical McFarlane full-on wiggle wrist going on, so we got good rotation, and we have good wiggle because it's got the pins on both sides. And these pins probably won't break like the ones did in my Atticus Doom. Not that I'm upset or bitter, just disappointed. And then the other arm has the same flexibility, capabilities, and articulation. We have kind of an open, like a creepy Scarlet Witchy type hand, right? She liked to do in the movies. And then we've got a fist. I mean, you've always got to have a fist. You always got to be ready for battle, even if you're also ready to cast some spells or be a ghost man. Mid torso, got that full flexibility and functionality, so it's not just the forward and back has pretty good flexibility. Forward, not too bad, but I think the waist is going to take more of it. I appreciate that the sculpting goes as high as it does. You still kind of get a little bit of a gap and a little bit of a line up there. On the back, about the same thing up here at this point, but still not bad. I mean, the sculpting goes all the way up, and it's really hard. I have to make myself see that. There's our peg hole for the smoke ghost effect. Waist rotation, right? So we got full rotation there. If you turn it too far, you do get a little bit of a gap, but it's not as bad as some of the other ones have been. This flexible underwear section, I appreciate the shape that they're giving this right here on the side, how it kind of drapes down. But anyway, I digress. The back of the flexible underwear kind of helps with some of the normal human type rotation, right? So we would normally twist about this far, and you don't really get a big gap there. So I'm not going to fault it on that. Typical McFarlane joints right there for the legs. For the ghost split, no upper thigh, but a little bit of rotation in this to kind of make up for not having that seam right there. And we've got a double pinned knee for excellent flexibility. Of course, he's a ghost. He's got to be flexible. Haunting takes a lot of flexibility. There we go. There's our focus. All right. And do we have any? We do not have any boot or calf rotation, even though there is a perfect line to make up for that. That would have been great to have that rotating capability, but the foot does help make up for it because we got full rotation there, and it's on that pin, so you got a little bit of other rotation. And of course, you can break that ghost ankle. He may not have any bones anymore, but he has a breakable ankle, and he's got toe articulation. That's painful. That is painful. And then of course the other leg has that same capability. Now paint apps, we already kind of noticed up here, the D is just fine, I want to say. It looks properly centered, looks properly applied. So very simple, very difficult to mess up. Everything else looks very clean. I mean, it's just, he's red and the boots are a little bit darker red and it's fairly well applied and pretty consistent. Everything else is cast red plastic, whether it's flexible or not. And I gotta do it. I gotta do it while I've got you so we can take a look at this together. So it wraps over his shoulders and under a little bit and the peg just pops in and there we go. There he's got, oh, he looks kind of annoyed by it, but he's got the little ghost coming out of his back. That is super cool. It looked a little weird in the pictures, right? I don't know if you felt the same way as me. It looked, that piece looked a little weird in the pictures. I was like, I'm probably not going to use that. But now that I know what it is and I can tell, totally going to use that. Super cool. So there he is. There is our Deadman. Well, that about brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to join us. Now, if we ever do a review of something you are trying to find for yourself, please follow and DM us on Instagram at JKCollectsToys so we can help with the search if we don't already have a way of getting one. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know and let YouTube know by subscribing and clicking that like button. The more that happens, the more YouTube can recommend us so we can hopefully reach more collectors and help them find the things that they need. If you'd like to see some more videos, we have some links on your screen right now for you to check out. And remember, collecting or not, we are all in this world together. Let's look out for each other. Thanks.